It was supposed to be another fiery evening on campus, one of dozens that had become routine for Charlie Kirk, the conservative activist, podcaster, and founder of Turning Point USA. For years, Kirk had traveled the country, delivering speeches that electrified his followers and infuriated his critics. His events were often controversial, sometimes chaotic, but always well attended. On that September night in Utah, the auditorium was filled to capacity. Students crowded into rows of folding chairs, journalists set up their cameras, and security staff lined the walls. Kirk was in his element, gesturing, provoking, and commanding attention from the stage. Then the shots rang out. In a matter of seconds, the auditorium descended into panic. The audience screamed, ducked, and ran for cover as 3 gunshots echoed through the hall. Kirk collapsed at the podium. Security swarmed. Paramedics rushed forward, and cameras captured the chaos in real time. But by the time he was carried out, Charlie Kirk was gone. What began as a speaking event ended as a national tragedy, and a crime that remains unsolved. Charlie Kirk was no stranger to controversy. Born in Illinois, he built Turning Point USA into one of the most influential conservative student organizations in America. By his late 20s, he was a household name in political circles, a frequent guest on cable news, and a headline speaker at rallies and conferences. To his supporters, Kirk represented courage, a voice willing to challenge the left on campuses where conservative speech often felt unwelcome. To his critics, he was divisive, accused of fueling outrage and stoking cultural battles. That polarity followed him everywhere, shaping not only his career but, as many now believe, the circumstances of his death. The forum in Utah had been advertised for weeks. Kirk was scheduled to take questions from students, a format designed to stir debate and draw headlines. Witnesses remember the moment with chilling clarity. Kirk leaned into the microphone, his hand raised mid-gesture. The crack of the first gunshot silenced the room. 2 more followed in rapid succession. Students screamed and scrambled for the exits. Some dropped to the floor. Security moved quickly, but the shooter was gone. In the confusion, a hooded figure slipped through a side door and disappeared into the night. Within minutes, police had sealed off the campus. Helicopters hovered overhead. News alerts flashed across screens nationwide. Charlie Kirk shot dead during university speech. Investigators worked through the night, combing through every inch of the auditorium and its exits. What they found left them with more questions than answers. Near a fire exit, officers discovered a handgun. It had no serial number. The weapon was what experts call a ghost gun, assembled from parts purchased separately, untraceable by design. It had been wiped clean. There were no fingerprints, no usable DNA. Surveillance footage offered little help. One grainy clip showed a hooded figure leaving the building, but the image was too blurred to identify. Witness accounts varied. Some described the shooter as tall, others as short. Some swore they saw the figure wearing black, others insisted on gray. The forensic trail was thin, and with each passing hour, the suspect slipped further from reach. Theories emerged almost immediately. Political enemies. Kirk was a lightning rod for criticism. He had received countless threats online, many explicit, some chillingly specific. One day, someone going to shut him up read one message, posted just days before his death. Disgruntled insiders. Turning Point USA was powerful, but not without internal conflict. Former staffers spoke of bitter disputes, financial tensions, and personal rivalries. Some suggested that enemies from within his own orbit may have wanted revenge. The lone wolf. Federal agents also considered the possibility of an isolated actor, someone radicalized by ideology, or perhaps consumed by obsession. The anonymity of the ghost gun hinted at planning, but not necessarily at a conspiracy. Each theory opened a door. Each lead seemed promising, but every trail went cold. The killing of Charlie Kirk reverberated far beyond Utah. Within hours, political leaders, commentators, and influencers filled the airwaves. On the right, outrage boiled over. Kirk was hailed as a martyr for free speech. They've declared war on us, one conservative voice warned on national radio. On the left, there was shock and condemnation, but also caution. We cannot allow this tragedy to be weaponized, a Democratic senator said. Call for restraint mixed uneasily with growing accusations. Among students, the emotions were raw and conflicted. It doesn't matter if you liked him or hated him, one attendee said. No one should be killed for speaking. Social media, predictably, exploded. Conspiracy theories spread faster than facts. Some insisted the government was hiding the real motive. Others claimed the shooting was staged. Hashtags trended for days, polarizing the national conversation even further. Despite national attention and immense resources, the investigation quickly hit a wall. The gun was untraceable. The figure in the video remained a blur. Witness testimony was fragmented, often contradictory. Forensic teams found no fibers, no prints, no DNA. Digital investigators combed through online threads, but most were either anonymous or dead ends. One FBI agent later described the case as like chasing smoke. Leads opened and closed in hours. Public pressure mounted, but progress was minimal. The shooter remained at large, their identity a mystery. The murder of Charlie Kirk remains unsolved, and with it, the motives remain speculative. Was it a politically motivated assassination, a direct attempt to silence one of the country's most polarizing figures? Was it personal, rooted in grudges, betrayals, or rivalries from inside his own movement? Or was it the act of a lone wolf, a shadowy figure acting on obsession rather than strategy? Each theory is plausible. None is proven. What is certain is the impact. Kirk's death has become more than a crime. It is a symbol. To some, it represents the dangers of political polarization in America. To others, it is evidence of growing hostility toward conservative voices. For many, it is simply another reminder of how words, passions, and divisions can spiral into violence. Charlie Kirk was 31 years old when he was killed. In life, he divided opinion. In death, he united a nation in shock. His funeral drew thousands. His organization vowed to continue his mission. His critics acknowledged the tragedy, even as they warned against making him a political saint. But the killer remains free. The gun remains a ghost. And the mystery lingers. One investigator summed it up bluntly. Whoever pulled the trigger knew exactly what they were doing, and they knew the whole country would feel the shockwaves. The case of Charlie Kirk is not only the story of a man's death. It is a story of a nation wrestling with division, violence, and the unanswered question that hangs in the air. Who killed Charlie Kirk, and why?